and back again. Let's get to it. Hello guys, welcome, or if you've already seen my channel before, welcome back. I am the Philadelphia Whovian. And guys, for this video, yes, we're going back to the 12th Doctor's era, individually, talking about each episode of its own accord. Yes, sorry. Just thought I'd be a little dramatic there for a second. Okay, guys. So yes, when it comes to these sets of videos, we are now going on to the 12th Doctor's first full story from Series 9 of the show. And for clarification before I really begin, guys, if you're new to my channel, I'm letting you all know right now. Guys, I am one of those Whovians who sits in front of the camera, those sad YouTubers who just sits in front of the camera and just talks and talks and talks some more. There's no fancy title sequence going by. There's no video clips. There's no pictures in this video. It's just me sitting and yapping. Hope you guys can stomach it. So yes, we're going to Series 9 of the new show of Doctor Who. And yes, what's the opening two-parter, Series 9? The Magician's Apprentice and then The Witch's Familiar. Great titles. Do they live up to what they're called? So, guys, with this one, alright, let's be honest. I'm gonna assume, if you've watched my channel before, you have known I do this and you also probably have seen Series 9. I'm going to assume you've seen Series 9, and therefore you have seen The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar. So I'm just going to quickly go over the plot of it, just to refresh your... If you hear scratching, it's because my cat's scratching to get the door open again. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. Oh, really? Okay. Come on in. Yes, I know. I thought you wanted to go outside. Why do you want to come in now? Really? Why? Look at that. This is your fellow pet right here. Yes? What is Zeus? Yeah? What did you think of The Witch's Familiar and The Magician's Apprentice? What did you think about it? Yeah, sorry. Guys, this is Zeus. He's my boy. Okay. Alright, now enjoy your rest and let me get this video done. Do not go to the camera. Do not. Oh, great. Alright, hold on. Okay, we're back, guys. Jesus. Really? Sorry, now I'm petting my cat at the same time while I'm doing this video. Okay, guys, Jesus. Okay. So, guys, doing my video once more of The Magician's Apprentice and Witch's Familiar. I swear, it's not my fault. They nag me when I'm doing my videos. Okay, come on. Come on. Okay, so, what is this video about? And what happened in The Magician's Apprentice and Witch's Familiar? Yes, now you're in my lap. Now leave me alone. Please go off my lap now. I pet you a little bit. Please, please. Ah, God! Thank you. Now stay there and leave me alone. Please? Please? Okay. Alright, back to the video. Oh my God. This really got away from me again, didn't it? This really got away from me again. God damn it. Okay, guys. The Magician's Apprentice, Witch's Familiar. I know I should just cut this video and do a whole new one, but guys, I'm not motivated. I'm really not motivated, okay? So, okay. What's it about? It's Series 9. We have a colony character called Colony Sarf who's looking for the 12th Doctor because Davros is dying and Davros wants to see the Doctor one last time. And then we also have Clara in this as well. She realizes that there's airplanes in the sky and they're not moving. She contacts Unit and then Unit contacts Missy because it turns out Missy, aka the Master, was the one who froze the airplanes to begin with. And then eventually the 12th Doctor goes back to Skaro, to confront Davros, and Davros appears to be dying. This was all a deception. Davros knew the Doctor was being empathetic and would give his regeneration energy to him and therefore save the Daleks, but in reality Davros lied. He did this all so the Doctor would feel bad for him and give him his regeneration energy, and so him and the Daleks would have Time Lord DNA within them. But it turns out the Doctor tricked Davros. He knew if he gave him the regeneration energy, then naturally the Daleks that were in the sewer system would rise up and overtake Skaro. So we have all of that. Bing, bang, boom, plot. So there, we got it. I think it's the quickest time I've ever done a plot for this show. I gotta get better. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay, so yes, we have that. So what are my overall thoughts or feelings about this story? Okay. Well, my face kind of said it all. Okay. Well, I admit, this was the first story I saw of the 12th Doctor's era. It really was the first story I did see. And by God, it was not a good story to meet a doctor on. It's not a story, like, if you want someone to get into the show, I do not recommend giving them this episode. It doesn't work as an introduction to a doctor or the show itself. In general, it's another episode where it's something that if you want to enjoy it, you have to have seen a lot of the show to begin with to enjoy it. Okay, now what did I enjoy about this? I want to give pros and cons along the way. Pro, the opening, where it's clearly giving a reference to Genesis of the Daleks, where you see the different machinery and weaponry being used in the war. That was exactly the war when it came to the war on Skaro between the Daleks or Khalids and the other species they were fighting against. Alright, so you have that. And then also on top of that, I do thought that was a really good opening, and the idea of the hand mine was really unique. I like that as well. And I pretty much, when it comes to the Magician's Apprentice and the Witch's Familiar, I should tell you, off the bat, when I first saw the story, I hated it. Oh God, I hate it so much. Oh God, I hate it. So now, seeing it again, another plus we have is Colony Sarf. Colony Sarf was the character who was sent by Davros to look for the Doctor and find him. I like the beginning of Colony Sarf going from place to place, searching for the Doctor, go from, the Shadow Proclamation, going to a bar area, then going to the Sisterhood of Karn to see the Doctor. And the character of Colony Sarf is a good character to begin with. And with Moffat, I absolutely love how you clearly got inspiration. I'm going to assume you did because it's the same character, as from the Star Trek animated series with the colony character of Bem. Oh, in Star Trek the animated series, there's an episode called Bem. It was meant to be done during the original Star Trek, where Star Trek, the character, show, sorry, I didn't say character, I mean show, the show was going to have an episode in its 4th season, but the season got canceled before we hit season 4, so Bem got scrapped and then brought back for the animated series. Bem was a colony creature, another cat in the background again. Yes, so Bem was a colony creature that could separate. He could separate his body and then come together to be one creature in the end. Colony Sarf has clearly got to be a creative take on colony creature Bem. And Moffat, I like that, reference to Star Trek with the character of Colony Sarf. I like Colony Sarf. But with Colony Sarf also comes our first negative and drawback to this episode. Okay, sorry about a little hair in my eye. Alright, so the character. Okay, what's the drawback? The lighting. When it comes to the 12th Doctor's era, the lighting, especially for the first 2 seasons, I thought was very bad. It was very dark, dank, and bleak feeling. Having that be a couple episodes every now and again is okay, but you gotta have a lot of brightness and a lot of bright episodes to really counterbalance the dark episodes. That's not the case when it comes to the 12th Doctor's era. A lot of it's very dark and dank, sometimes it's hard to see it sometimes, and again, it's enjoyable to watch sparingly, but if it's every episode, eventually it feels like a downer, and it has an effect on your psyche when you're watching it, and you don't always want to watch it. For example, after I watched this episode, I then watched from the 7th Doctor's era, Battlefield. The 7th Doctor's story, Battlefield, from his last season, and immediately I felt happier. Because the color palette was a lot brighter in that episode, and it's amazing how brightness has an effect on your enjoyment of an episode. And if you guys are like, how dare you like stories from the 7th Doctor's era more than the 12th Doctor's era? Well, I sometimes do. Tough. And Battlefield was bright and it was fun. It was just a fun time because it felt uplifting. When things get dark for a long time and they stay dark, it can have an effect on your mood, and you don't always want to go and watch it very often. So, Magician's Apprentice and Witch's Familiar, it still has that dark palette I'm not crazy about. I'm sure other people love it, but I don't. There's that. Okay, so another thing about this that I liked. I liked the idea, again, I liked everything up until after Clara sees the airplane. When she sees the airplane and she circles it in the glass, I love that. I pretty much hate almost everything that came after that in The Magician's Apprentice. One thing I do say, though, I did like is the improvement of the Doctor's character. The Doctor is nicer and less abrasive. Moffat was clearly took the notes of people who complained in Series 8 and tried to make him more likable in Series 9. This is a good thing, because I admit, Series 8, 12th Doctor, if you didn't like him, I get why. I saw what Moffat was trying to do, but if you did not like Series 8, 12th Doctor, makes sense. He was abrasive, he could be a dick, he even could be, prejudiced to certain people of different regions of the world in a very inappropriate manner, i.e. death in heaven, but I'll get to that later when I do my video on anti-American sentiments amongst Doctor Who fandom. Okay, but not right now. We'll just focus on this. And again, guys, I won't talk about that right now, nor do I want us to talk about that right now. Let's talk solely about Magician's Apprentice and Witch's Familiar. Okay, but yes, I saw that Moffat was trying to help the Doctor improve in this, and the only thing I like about Clara staying on board after Last Christmas, I like Clara, but I loved how her story almost ended in Last Christmas, and I regretted her coming back because I liked that ending. The one thing I will say about Clara staying that was overall really cool, and that was the fact that we see the 12th Doctor be nicer to her. That is one nice thing. But another thing about this that shows, Moffat, you're too clever for your own good. Where we have the airplanes, Clara sees the airplanes, encircles the airplane, showing that the airplane is frozen, it's not moving. And we find out it's a part of a larger plot, it's just one element to get Missy into the storyline, and it's just one small plot piece. That would have made a really cool story all by itself, Moffat. The idea of the planes being frozen in the sky, and imagine the Doctor going to each plane and trying to find, and everybody's frozen on the plane, and the Doctor trying to find out why they're all frozen on the planes, and the whole plot is why they're frozen, who froze them, where are people intending to do with these frozen people on the frozen planes, where are the planes going to go, and who's the villain, who's behind all this. Moffat, that would have been such a cool idea all by itself. Ah, Moffat, dear Lord. Okay, but overall, yeah, everything else, most of the time, after that circling of the plane in the window, I was not crazy about the rest of this story. Still am not. Then we get to Witch's Familiar. Okay, guys, I admit Witch's Familiar is much more enjoyable a second time around than it is the first time around. I do acknowledge this. Still dark and not like the color palette. A lot of good ideas there. Definitely, the conversations with Davros and the Doctor were very beautiful. Also, let's see, but I admit the whole Missy, Clara back and forth thing, I don't know if I like it or hate it, there's that. An idea of the sewer system, the Daleks in the sewer system. That Moffat was a good throwback to your comedic relief with Rowan Atkinson as the Doctor, where the Master kept falling into the sewage system as well. So that was actually a unique idea. And having the sewage system Daleks be what overthrew the Davros with the other Daleks, that was good because it didn't come out of nowhere. You built up the solution from the very beginning of the second episode. It's better than, I admit, Magician's Apprentice. Witch's Familiar is overall good, and there's a nice throwback to the idea of the Daleks knowing the word mercy. Because in Series 5, in the climax with the Big Bang, the Dalek shouts mercy to River. That's a nice throwback to that moment, Moffat. I like that. Another thing I do, and see, what do I enjoy about this one also besides just that concept? I'm trying to think, there was something else I thought, compare and contrast. How did I almost forget that? The compare and contrast of this, because we start Series 8 with a two-parter similar to how we started Series 6 with a two-parter. We have the 11th Doctor and Impossible Astronaut, Day on the Moon, and then we have 12th Doctor's Magician's Apprentice and Witch's Familiar. And both overall have the same concept, where you have the Doctor with a returning companion, and it turns out there's an alien in some way, shape, or form who has the Doctor, and Doctor confronts the alien, and then it turns out the alien is tricked by the Doctor himself to commit their own demise. Yet ultimately it's similar plot line and similar concept of the companions and somebody else team up with a large force of political people to solve this crisis of this alien invasion. But for the Doctor, it's Davros coming to get him, so the Doctor's regeneration energy, he tricks the Doctor into using his regeneration energy, but the Doctor was tricking him the entire time, the way the 11th Doctor tricked the Silence into creating their own demise. So both stories, at the end of the day, are the Doctor actually having the character, the villains, create their own demise. But they also start in similar ways, where the Doctor is predicted to die. So if you put Impossible Astronaut, I would say Planet, I don't know why I do that, Impossible Planet and Day on the Moon next to Magician's Apprentice and Witch's Familiar, they're actually very similar stories with the Doctor dying or predicted to die early on, and the Doctor uses trickery at the very end. Very similar concepts. So you see, I think Moffat trying to return to the success of his previous seasons with a similar story, and I don't begrudge that. It's the same way I don't begrudge Malcolm for writing The Sea Devils and The Silurians. Unless I got that writer's name wrong. Yeah, I like both stories, even though they're both similar, so I'm not judging this for similarity, but I admit I do like Impossible Astronaut and Day on the Moon a little more, because it has a new villain in it, so it forces the audience, even if you have not seen the show, because it's a new villain, it's easier to get into if you have not seen the show before than it would be Magician's Apprentice and Witch's Familiar, and also a better color palette as well. But yeah, so overall, this is my feelings for Magician's Apprentice, Witch's Familiar. Like Colony Sarf, I love the story up until after the airplane situation. Hate everything else pretty much after that. I do admit, though, I like the Doctor becoming a better person. And then Witch's Familiar, it is better than I remember, but this is still not going to be my favorite story. So that's my feelings of There and Back Again of this two-parter. Guys, what do you think about it? Let me know in the comment section. Either way, you're very awesome. Guys, I love you, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye, guys.